Good afternoon and welcome to the Group Plc 2023 AGM proceedings. Throughout this recorded meeting, attendees will be in listen-only mode. Questions are encouraged, can be submitted any time via the Q&A tab situated in the right-hand corner of your screen. Just click on Q&A, type in your question and press send. The company may not be in a position to answer every question received during the meeting today. However, all questions will be reviewed and the responses published on the Investor Meet Company platform where appropriate to do so. I'd now like to hand you over to Mark Braun, Chairman. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Paul. Good afternoon and welcome to everybody. As you probably well know, this is a script. We have to read the script, or I will be reading the script, so excuse the rather stilted approach, but I will press on. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome you today to the company's annual general meeting. I'm Mark Braun, your company's chairman, and I will be chairing this meeting today. Thank you very much indeed for making the effort to attend today's meeting. The notice of annual general meeting was issued on the 24th of February 2023, and due notice of the meeting has accordingly been issued to the company's members. We have a number of other shareholders in attendance at this meeting via the Investor Meet platform, but as set out in the letter from the chairman of the company, which accompanied the notice of the annual general meeting, none of them will be able to vote on the matters to be considered at this general meeting. There are also a number of people attending this annual general meeting in person who are not members of the company, including certain of our advisors. Unless anyone has any objections to the attendance of such non-members, I shall continue by formally opening the meeting. No objections? Brilliant. We'll move on. Quorum. The quorum for this meeting is 2 members present in person or by proxy. Having checked the number of such persons present, I declare that the quorum is present. And I further declare the meeting open. Excuse me. Voting. Before proceeding to the business of the meeting, I'd like to remind you of the methods of voting at the meeting. Resolutions will be decided on a show of hands unless a poll is demanded, in accordance with the Articles of Association of the company, before or on the declaration of the result of a vote on a show of hands. On a show of hands, every member or corporate representative who is present, either in person or by proxy, has 1 vote, and on a poll, every member or corporate representative present in person or by proxy has 1 vote for every share of which he or she is the holder. A poll may be demanded by me as chairman, or at least 5 members or their proxies having the right to vote at the meeting. Any members or members present in person by proxy, in person and or by proxy, representing in aggregate not less than 10% of the voting rights, total voting rights of members having the right to vote at a meeting, or a member or members present in person or by proxy holding shares in the company, conferring a right to vote at the meeting, being shares on which an aggregate sum has been paid up equal to not less than 10% of the total sum paid up on all the shares conferring that right. With your permission, I propose that we take the notice convening the meeting as having been read. Is this agreed? Yeah, brilliant. Okay. Questions. By way of a reminder, questions can be submitted at any time during the annual general meeting via the Ask a Question function on the Investor Meet Company dashboard and by anybody present in the room at the end of the session. I'd now like to briefly introduce the board. We have to my left, Sean Doak, the CEO. To my right, Andrea Pankhurst, the CFO. We also have in the room, you can't see him on camera, I'm afraid, Rob Gilbert, who's one of our non-executive directors, an independent non-executive director. And Michael Joyce, unfortunately, has sent his apologies, but is joining by the Investor Meet platform. Before starting formal proceedings, I'd like to read you a statement on trading during the year that was released to the market via our Regulatory Information Service this morning. So I'll read that now. Excuse me. When we announced the group's results for the year ending 30th of September 2022 in February, the board noted the new financial year had started positively, with the first quarter delivering a record performance. Notably, the group has benefited from its ability to cross-sell other business services into existing and new customers. Evidence of this is the recent contract win with an estimated value of £800,000 in the current financial year, to provide services through a coordinated programme from all 3 segments of the business to a large, fast-service food restaurant across all its sites in the UK. This positive contract win momentum has continued with good sales growth in all three divisions of the business. Ladders Free, one of the largest commercial window cleaning businesses in the UK, continues to have strong sales performance with recent notable contract wins, including a prestigious nationwide furniture retailer and another restaurant group with some of the UK's best-known brands. Ladders Free is benefiting from a mix of national and local customers, enabling it to deliver material growth for the group. Fidelis experienced a slightly slower start to the year, but has since won some significant new contract awards. A £500,000 18-month contract with a sizable Midlands-based school has been agreed, alongside numerous contract renewals, which include another school worth around £540,000 over 3 years, and an annual contract with an NHS trust worth almost £200,000. The React business, which provides a solution to often urgent one-off situations, has had a steady period in which it has won new contracts to carry out high-level cleaning projects for established facility management businesses, schools and universities. These ad hoc contracts can be valuable, but by definition are less dependable. The group continues to benefit from further cross-selling opportunities, and the pipeline of new business is strong. Whilst we are witnessing good demand for our services, the board is continually mindful of the economic environment, particularly in the retail and hospitality sectors, and therefore views the future with cautious optimism. That's the end of the statement. So, I'd now like to start the formal proceedings of this annual general meeting. So we'll proceed to vote on the resolutions, which I will formally propose to the meeting. The full text of each of the resolutions is set out in the notice of the meeting, a copy of which you will have received. So resolution number 1 is to receive and adopt the accounts. The first resolution is to receive and adopt the company's accounts, annual accounts for the financial year ended 30th September 2022, together with the director's report and auditor's report thereon. Are there any questions? I now propose resolution 1, the text of which has been set out in the notice convening the meeting as an ordinary resolution. All those in favour, please raise their hands. That's 5 out of 5. Thank you very much. All those against? There is nobody else to vote. So I hold 22 proxy votes, representing 620,476,220 shares in favour of this resolution. There are no votes at the chairman's discretion on this account, and there are 2 votes against, representing 780,000 shares, and none are withheld. I therefore declare that this resolution has been passed. Resolution to appoint auditors and to determine their remuneration. The second resolution relates to the appointment of Danes LLP as auditor of the company to hold office from the conclusion of this annual general meeting until the conclusion of the next annual general meeting, at which accounts are laid before the company, and gives the directors authority to determine their remuneration. Are there any questions? None? Okay. I now propose resolution 2, the text of which has been set out in the notice convening the meeting as an ordinary resolution. All those in favour, please raise their hands. That's 5 of 5. Thank you very much. There are none against in the room. I hold 22 proxy votes, representing 620,521,220 shares in favour. Again, no shares at the discretion of the chairman. 2 votes against, representing 735,000 shares, and none withheld. I therefore declare that this resolution has also been passed. Next resolution is to re-elect a director. This relates to the re-election of Michael Joyce, who is retiring in accordance with the Articles of Association and, being eligible, is offering himself for re-election at this annual general meeting. The board is recommending that Michael Joyce be re-elected as a director. Are there any questions? No. I now propose resolution 3 for the election of Michael Joyce, the text of which has been set out in the notice convening the meeting as an ordinary resolution. All those in favour, please raise their hands. That's 5 of 5. There's nobody in the room with a vote left to vote against. I hold 22 proxy votes, amounting to 620,351,220 shares, all in favour. No chairman's discretionary votes. There are 2 votes against, representing 780,000 shares, and 1 vote representing 125,000 shares, which have been withheld. I therefore declare that this resolution has been passed. The 4th resolution, which relates to the authority to allot shares and grant rights to subscribe for or to convert any security into shares of the company. Before the directors are able to issue shares or convert any security into shares, they must first be authorised by shareholders to do so. The maximum number of shares that may be allotted under this authority is limited to an aggregate nominal amount of £264,412 and about 13 pence. Being approximately 10% of the nominal value of the company's issued ordinary share capital, excluding treasury shares, as at 23rd February 2023. The authority will expire at the close of business on the date falling 18 months after the date of passing this resolution, or, if earlier, at the end of the next year's annual general meeting. Are there any questions? Nope. I now propose Resolution 4, the text of which has been set out in the notice convening the meeting as an ordinary resolution. All those in favour, please raise their hands. That's 5 of 5. All those against, there's nobody here to vote against. I hold 21 proxy votes, amounting to 618,727,888 shares in favour. There is one vote at the discretion of the chairman, which is 3,332 shares, which I vote in favour, and 4 votes amounting to 2,525,000 shares against, and none are withheld. I therefore declare that this resolution has been passed. The final resolution will give the directors authority to allot equity securities for cash without first offering them to existing shareholders in proportion to their existing holding of shares. This authority shall be limited to, one, the allotment of equity securities in connection with a rights issue or other preemptive offer, or 2, otherwise the allotment of equity securities or sale of treasury shares to any person up to an aggregate nominal value of £132,206.06, representing approximately 5% of the nominal value of the company's issued ordinary share capital, excluding treasury shares, as at the 23rd of February 2023. The authority will expire at the close of business on the date falling 18 months after the date of the passing of this resolution, or, if earlier, at the end of next year's annual general meeting. Are there any questions? No. All those in favour, please raise your hands. That's 5 of 5. Nobody else left in the room to vote against. I hold 20 proxy votes, representing 618,724,888 shares in favour. One chairman's discretion vote at 3,332 shares, which I vote in favour, and 4 proxy votes representing 2,527,000 shares against, and 1 vote representing 1,000 shares withheld. I therefore declare that the resolution has been passed. That concludes the formal proceedings of the meeting, and I therefore now declare this general meeting of the company closed. We will be answering the questions shortly. The result of the meeting will be announced to the markets through our regulatory information service and posted on our website as soon as practical. Thank you very much. So I have 2 questions on line here. The first one was sent in prior to the meeting, so I don't actually have the name of the person that submitted this one, I'm afraid. The question is, have React changed the RNS announcement about new contracts to a higher value before an RNS announcement is qualified? Now, I think I know where this is coming from. Basically, in the distant past, two years or so ago, we would be announcing deals that were material to us at that time when we were a smaller company, that might be 100 or 200,000 pounds a year in revenue terms, and of course that would have then been material. However, based on advice both from AIM in particular and from our Nomad singers, we've taken a more conservative approach towards announcing deals. If they are material, we're talking now in terms of deals that are sort of £500,000 and up, I think, in terms of revenue, unless they are very high margin deals, then they will not be announced on their own. They'll be scooped up and announced every 2 or 3 months when we make other announcements to the market, and we'll update you in the way we have done the last 3 or 4 announcements that have been made by the company. So we will give a general update on a more frequent basis. But in terms of specific deal announcements, you should not anticipate those coming through unless they are of genuine material value. And the other comment I'll make, which is something that we discussed at the last investor meeting, which would have been for our results, was that the company is still pursuing large deals, but actually those large deals do come at a price, and that is margin. And you'll have seen that we are now attending to improve and increase the margins once again in the business, as we did sort of 3 years ago. So there is a lot more activity at sort of the mid-sized deals where the margins are richer. So basically, all that is code for saying, don't expect to see lots of big one-off deals. Whilst they sometimes do move the dial, what will move the dial equally as much is good momentum across the piece in the way that we've been performing lately, with a lot of good mid-sized deals, especially where we involve cross-selling of higher margin product. Second question is from Adrian G. And I've not pre-read any of these, so this says, has the record performance in Q1 continued into Q2? Today's RNS suggests a slight slowdown in Fidelis and Reactive, but then in contrast is a statement that positive contract win momentum has continued with good sales growth in all 3 divisions of the business. Basically, I've got nothing to add to the statement we've made. Q1, obviously, with the addition of Ladders 3, was clearly a record, and everything was pumping on all, firing on all cylinders. Yes, we did have a bit of a slowdown in Fidelis at the beginning of the year, and React has been one that has been recovering from a year or so ago. But at the end of the day, what we've said in the statement rings true. The business has got good momentum. There is very good pipeline, isn't there? And that is only set to continue, I think. But we're obviously always mindful of the economic conditions we're working in. The fact is that the market we have the ability to address is so big that even if there is a turn down, we think there's still plenty of opportunity for us to go after. So hopefully that answers the question, Adrian. David O, are you able to mention the cumulative value of contracts secured year to date? No, is the answer. That's going into too much detail, I'm afraid. And with my nomad sitting here smiling at that question, I'm sorry to say the answer has to be no. But there will be obviously more information as we come to turn the half year with our interims. Another question from you, David. You have mentioned a strong pipeline aided by cross-selling of the group services across a broader customer base. Is the pipeline likely to dwarf contracts secured year to date? Well, it's all about win rate, and our win rate is actually quite strong, as it has been for a while. I mean, Sean and his team are excellent at getting in front of customers and selling. I don't think I can answer that question very accurately. Yeah. Basically, it's just a good, solid, strong pipeline. Yeah. We're a bigger company now, and I guess the pipeline sort of reflects that. And we know we've got more to do, haven't we? We've got more that we're mobilizing in terms of sales and marketing effort. I genuinely don't think I can be any more specific than that. No? No,
I think you've covered it all.
Okay. That's the last question. Hopefully that one answers that for you, David. Malcolm, do you have a question? Shareholder in the room? No questions. So that brings the proceedings to an end. Thank you very much again for your time. And we appreciate your support. Yeah. Paul, back to you.
Fantastic, Mark. Thank you and the team for updating attendees today. Can I please ask attendees not to close the session? You should be automatically redirected to provide your feedback in order the board can better understand your views and expectations. This will only take a few moments to complete, and I know it's greatly valued by the company. On behalf of the board of React Group PLC, we'd like to thank you for attending today's AGM proceedings. Many thanks indeed.